Hello there and welcome to episode 69 here at Cuzzo-Op. I am one of the hosts here, Willie, also known as Arrow, and as usual we have the other host here, my cousin.
It's Isaiah. Greetings. Glad you're here.
No Ivy?
Nah, it's just Isaiah tonight.
Heard it. Well, tonight we are here to talk about a video game which, besides our Star Wars episode, 2024 in video games, bro, it hasn't been much of a conversation for us here, and mostly because this particular episode kept getting pushed back. But now we're finally here to talk Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Towards the end of last year, we sat and we went over the Arkham games, Rocksteady, WB Montreal. We spoke about each game in the franchise, and as it was leading towards Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, as these games are connected. And so just for a quick brief, if you didn't catch that last episode, go listen to it. If not, quick thoughts is we love the Arkham franchise, and coming into this game, for me, my main focus was the story. I was interested to see why Rocksteady thought it would be a good idea to connect this to their Arkhamverse, and I was kind of angry at some of the decisions in terms of character that they decided to go with, the changes they made, the movie inspirations that they took for characters like Harley and Deadshot. And well, I'm gonna get more into that. And for IV, he was really just interested to see what Rocksteady was going to do as people who had put their backs against the wall and then came out and started exploring the dynamics of their game in a very interesting way. And so, we're here to just talk about this game as it dropped at the end of January, early February. For starters, let's talk about how we played this game. For me, it was me and two other friends of mine that we sat and we played this game together all the way through. We haven't completed all of the season 1 content yet, but for the main piece of what we're talking about, we sat, we played the game. And so, what was your playing experience like? Were you solo, duo, trio, quadding?
First and foremost, now that the NDA has been relieved and we could talk about it a little bit, I did have the opportunity, as well as Arrow, to play the alpha when it first came out. And I liked it. I was actually rocking with the gameplay. I took a very, very big liking to Harley, and I played it with my boys. We had a full party of 4 guys. It was free. So, you always can get more people in when you got free, got a couple extra invites. But when the game dropped, my boy Steve, shout out Slock, were the only 2 that ended up actually purchasing the game. And part of it was because of the negativity that the game had received. None of my boys wanted to spend $60 on the game. Shout outs PS with the game share. Don't ever get rid of that, Sony. If you do, I'm gonna kill you. But that's the only reason why I would say I even have this game, to be honest with you, because I don't necessarily know if I would have paid the full 60 if I played it by myself. Even though it was enticing and the gameplay was fun, and I thought about it during the day when I was playing the alpha, when I got into the actual game with Steve, the feeling was a little bit different. And I will talk about that a little bit more as we keep going. But that was my playthrough. I did not finish the game. I'm maybe 20% done so far. Not even, maybe even 15. I'm having a really hard time getting through the entire game, and that's the perspective that both of us are coming from, because we play it to talk crap and just play something mindless, and that's kind of what the game feels like for us so far. But you're getting an idea of where we're at in terms of my perspective. Yeah.
Either way, IV knows kind of a bit of what happens in the game. It's not very secretive. For starters, I will say that I couldn't imagine playing this game alone. That'll be the first thing I come out and say. Even a duo, I couldn't imagine doing it. Even as a trio, I almost am interested in damn, that fourth person, it could have maybe done something. But as a trio experience, I had fun, is what I'll say. I had fun. when the game was fun. And when the game wasn't incredibly fun, it was still just kind of mindless activities, almost like you said. And there are certain missions that fared a lot better than others. But first thing I want to focus on, since we're got that out of the way, is gameplay, bro. You said you played as Harley. I was Deadshot. And for me, it was fun to like play as Deadshot, and as the game progressed, getting the different weapons, it was fun to pull up combos and snipe, slide, shoot with my wrist gauntlets. But what wasn't fun for me, bro, and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure you're going to feel the same way, is the enemies that we were facing in the game. What mindless fun, yes, but if we're talking I'm here to play a game that's going to give me a high energy, like woo, let's go, bullet spongy, bro. They were just, sometimes it wasn't even made clear on what to do to defeat an enemy until you just throw a bunch of grenades at it and explode it, and you keep it pushing.
Facts.
But bullet spongy, it was at times very like just annoying to have to sit and go through a level.
Yeah, I just think when it comes down to it, bro, combat and gameplay, the reason why I liked Harley is one thing I loved about this game right out the gate, and this was part of why the alpha was enticing. I like the traversal. I like the traversal a lot. I like the different rhythm of traversal. There's a little bit of a layering to each character on your ability to master traversing the map. If you time that boomerang perfectly with Cap, you're able to extend as far as possible and move as quick as you possibly can. With Harley, if you pull or lessen the length of the drone's claw, or the bat claw's what's it called, the grappling hook, at the right time, it could increase the speed in which you swing forward. Those little nuances, timing the afterburners of Deadshot, for you, like, it's just cool. I think those little nuances were tough. It reminded me of Arkham in the sense of gliding actually required some effort. You needed to know how to maximize on dropping and then pulling up at the right time and then steering in. I think they brought that. But the combat, bro, was 90% of this game, to be honest. If not, then maybe I'm exaggerating. 75% of this game. And it just is not fun for long. It's fun for like the demo and the 4 times you playing as all 4 characters in the tutorial. And then when you get out there, bro, and you make that first drop off the Hall of Justice and you're like, oh, gang, it's cool. It feels nice for a second. But it's like a fraction of the feeling of that Ghost of Tsushima moment when you come over the hillside and you riding through the flowers and the title's like Ghost of Tsushima. Like, it's a fraction of the intensity. And then that's it. It's fodder. Everything feels very fodder, bro.
To put it in words that would be like really comparable is I could hop on any of the Arkham games right now and beat ass for 10 hours straight if I wanted to, and I would never feel tired of it. Right. After an hour or 2 or 3 of this, bro, I was done. If my system even let me get that far, bro.
Right.
Because when the game dropped, there was a huge bug that was causing PS5, Xbox Ones, or Series X's to crash. Yep. Which is kind of wild, but I got that. They eventually got that fixed, but yeah, like that's a difference in alone comparing it to the franchise that this is supposedly the legacy and continuation of.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting as our gameplay pillar to just have that experience. And I want to talk boss fights, but I'm going to talk about them later as we get to the story section. As to not, some of them were interesting, but
I want to actually pause. Hold on. Before you even get to visuals, bro, I do also want to pause. I wanted to say this earlier. Like, when Marvel Avengers came out, I was one of those people saying Marvel Avengers is going to be great. Oh, it looks fun. The demo was legit. I learned my lesson, bro. I know you've been coming at me for a long time about this. I've learned my lesson, and this game helped me learn it. It helped me to manage my expectations based on alpha, based on trailer, based on desire, and just overall what I want.
Yeah.
But at the same time, something you got to hear from me right now before we continue for the rest is the blatant disrespect toward Rocksteady as a studio is something I will never be on board for. No matter what critique we give going forward for the rest of this episode, I will forever have respect for Rocksteady. It is hard for you to do something tremendous and then try to follow up on what is tremendous by going in a different direction. You know, not everyone can be Naughty Dog and decide off of an Uncharted, I'm going to make a Last of Us and go bigger and better. And then take what they learned from being bigger and better and bring it back to what was already great and make that bigger and better. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can do what Rockstar does. Not everyone can do these things. So I just want to say that. And everyone's like, oh, well, they should have just made this. Oh, they should have just made that. We live in a day and age, bro. Warner Brothers is shiesty with the we talked about this already. When we talked about DC, go back and listen to our DC episode. When we talked about everything going on so far in DC, Warner Brothers has not played their cards right. There hasn't been a card played properly. They've been trying to play catch up to Marvel. Now, listen, that being said, this is kind of like the last thing before the reset with James Gunn that's in the DC name. And I mean, Aquaman. So it's like, I'm excited for the future for movies, but also video games too. So I don't see this as like Rocksteady's forever in gaming jail. I feel like people who are doing that, I need to shut the hell up. Put respect on their name. You know what I mean? Not everybody could be perfect. So I just want to let that be known going forward. Let's jump into those visuals, bro. Unless you got something to say on that.
Bro, I mean, I think that's a great point. There was too much disrespect to the point where people are like, yep, they should just shut down after this. And it kind of reminds me of like the Disney issue in the sense of like, yo, if a studio hits what you design and dignify to be a fold, you want it to be over? You don't want them to have a second chance? We don't want to believe that, all right, let them take these punches and come back better? Ain't that the reason why everybody likes Cyberpunk? Ain't that what we want?
It won an award for Game of the Year as an ongoing game.
Like, I'm not here saying that this game in particular is gonna ever bounce back, but what I'm saying is, as for Rocksteady, like, what are we talking about, bro? You just one and done, that's it? Because you feel like, oh, okay, that's interesting. It shows me where a lot of people's headspaces are at. Also, that being said, I know that a lot of people that made the Rocksteady name what it was aren't there anymore. There's new team. There's new people there. It at the end of the day, bro, relax. This is what I have to say to people online. Relax, bro.
And the reason why we say that now before we move on to the rest of the pillars here at Cuzzo-Op that we go through when it comes to gameplay is like, yo, I need you to understand, like, they try to do a new combat system. But this is the same studio that created the combat system that had gaming's combat systems and holding them by the nuts for like a decade. You understand? If y'all are looking for some like XX square triangle counter combat, free flow, go play Avalanche Studios' Mad Max. Shout out Furiosa. They got that. It's there. It's there right now. Go play something.
Buy a PlayStation 5 and play Spider-Man, bro.
Go play Spidey.
They've been trying to hit that and haven't, but they've been trying to hit it.
Go play Shadow. Go play Shadow of Mordor or Shadow War. Go play that. It's there. It exists. Go play the old Assassins. Go play Brotherhood. Like, bro, at the end of the day, we got to move and evolve and push forward. And so I'm not going to say that they succeeded, but I do respect their attempt to make something new. It just wasn't great, though. The combat was not gelling.
Right. I mean, all right. So with that being said, man, we're going to go with visuals, and we're going to talk about visuals and world together because visuals are part of the world. Metropolis is beautiful.
Facts.
I think Metropolis looks really beautiful. Once again, for people saying, look at their dead Superman game, found it. They said they were never making a Superman game. They said that was never their intention. So stop trying to cope and It was never there, bro. Metropolis looks beautiful. And then we're going to go into character designs. And for me, here's a big problem for me.
Okay.
Nothing about any of the character designs speak Arkham to me. Now, we've said this isn't an Arkham game, but it takes place in the world, and that is true. However, doing some math in my head, I just want to quickly be that nerd. This game takes place a long time after Arkham Origins. A long time. Almost 20 years. And Harley almost looks younger than she does in any of the other games. This woman is probably pushing 50s in this game.
Sheesh.
And her whole look doesn't say Arkham, it says Margot Robbie, Suicide Squad. Deadshot, completely different dude. They justify it with multiverse reasons and everything else, but at the end of the day, visually, they wanted him to look like Will Smith, Suicide Squad 2016. Captain Boomerang. Jai Courtney killed it in 2016 with Captain Boomerang, and that's who the character's been ever since. King Shark was some funny dude in 2021 Suicide Squad, and now that's who he is here, bro. So visually speaking, I'm disappointed with the character designs. I'm disappointed with Amanda Waller, who has been in this universe before and looks completely different actress and everything about it. Nothing about it said Arkham to me. Besides some of the superheroes, Batman looked cool. You know, I think Wonder Woman, this might be my favorite outfit of hers of all time. Green Lantern was sick. Flash, Superman, he looked cool. But I wasn't particularly fond of the character design or like facial animation stuff. But the world that it was set in was beautiful. It was a nice looking world. It was nice to traverse through, I'll say.
Yeah, I think for me, just coming off gameplay and tying it into visuals, I appreciated the design of the world. One thing I didn't appreciate was that whole Division vibe of like you find an echolocation of what happened in this space. Oh no, Superman's killing us. Trying to catch a feel for what happened in this universe. Those moments felt like they were, this worked as an industry trope and standard prior, so let's just throw that in here as another way to tell the story. What I appreciate about this game, and that I will respect even in the visual department, is innovation. I love innovation. We live in a day and age where everything with Hollywood and production studios and money is, they bought that prior, so we'll do the same thing. And I want newness. You got me on record saying this on 4 or 5 episodes. Just go listen. Like, I like when studios are daring to try something different. And the reality is that they take a 50-50 chance with that they can succeed. And when they succeed, it often is really big because it's unique. Or they fail. And when they fail, it makes you question if maybe the system is what we should do the entire time. I don't know. I don't think so. I think this was just what we saw with those character designs is Warner Brothers and all of the studio money influence behind the DC franchise pushing, we want the things that have made us money on the films to make their way to the video game. And I know I mentioned, maybe it's because I saw Furiosa last week, but I mentioned Mad Max earlier. Something that I love about George Miller is when they created the concept of Mad Max, they decided, okay, how do we create a universe and then use the medium of movies to paint more into that universe, then use the medium of video games to paint that even more so. And I wish that they were willing to do something like that with these characters. If they had done like, this isn't what that is, yet when you play this, it enriches what that is. I would have loved that. I don't feel like that was this. It just felt like copy, paste. These skins are in here because on some Fortnite type timing, you've seen them other places, except we're going to try to ride the whole story with this vehicle. And I hated that, bro. I hated that. Shout out Seer. I hated Amanda in this, bro. I really did. And I know I'm supposed to, so maybe they succeeded. I don't know. I just feel like from a visual standpoint, seeing them, I was tight. I was so tight because it was like, this could be so many other things. And while we live in a world where people wanted it to look like Arkham, I wasn't one of those people. I was one of those people who were like, I want something different. And it wasn't. It was safe. They played it very safe. And that's not who Rocksteady was to me when they innovated and they made that Arkham series. And that's where I can understand what they're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like, I want that innovation. I want that daring. You've got the title of Arkham, Gotham, Batman, DC. You can do whatever you want in here. Go stupid. And I feel like they didn't really do that well.
I didn't even necessarily want it to be Arkham. I just wanted it to make sense as something continuing that, and it felt more like a regression for me. And that's how it felt. Gotham Knights felt more Arkham-y to me than this. A lot of their designs felt like that atmosphere. So it's still just so jarring to me that Gotham Knights was the separate game, and that this is.
Shout out to Gotham Knights. I'll never play that ever in my life, but I heard good things.
It was really fun as a co-op superhero game. Hey man, sound and audio. I'm gonna hit a lot of the voice acting. Piss me off in this game, because you would think in a game that you've made that's 40 hours in gameplay, you would hit more than 2 recording lines when you're going to come up in there and talk about, I'm locked and loaded. Every time you reload, I'm locked and loaded. But you know what? The worst thing was, bro, when you open a menu to open a skill tree, there's this girl that's like glitchy that speaks to you, and she would have the same 2 words, 2 lines to say every time.
It was, I got your birthday present on some Apex.
So for Harley, bro, for me, it was like, I got you, killer. Every time I opened up my skill tree, and I was tired of hearing it, because you open that skill tree up a lot in the game, bro. I was tired. If you're going to do that, bro, record 50 lines, bro. I don't ever want to, I shouldn't have to hear the same shit 10 times while I'm playing for an hour, bro. I could hear the mic, bro. I felt like the quality between each character varied. I feel like sometimes it'd be like, yo, Deadshot sound crispy, and hardly sound like she's speaking out of a AirPod, bro. And then it swap. And then it swap. And I'm like, I don't like this, bro. And I know it's not the radio, because, you know, sometimes when you're far away, they'll talk to the radio. No, it's not that. I'm talking cutscenes. It felt wonky. And they all felt like they were trying to, once again, capture what the movies had done. Wasn't for me, man. It wasn't for me.
At the same time, though, there were certain moments where the gelling of all 4 of them together, and they're trying to emulate the depictions from different mediums, would come together, and I saw what they were trying to do, and I was like, that actually made me laugh. I chuckled a couple times. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't. But more toward the beginning of the game, when they're trying to make you laugh to buy you in. That's within the first 8 hours. Post that, mid, not enticing, not interesting. But they swooned me with the alpha. You know what I mean? Like, when I played it the first time and I saw them beefing over the serum, and they doing the whole like, and they like still frames in the montage, or when we see Batman and we see this Arkham story, or when you hear Batman's bats in the distance as he's watching you and then he disappears, or hearing the radio of, oh, give us an understanding of what Batman did to you. Well, basically what he did. And then you just hear, hello, Lois. Like, lines like that, I was like, great. That's cool. These are cool moments. The issue is they've got so much shit on the screen. Shout outs to the display and the visuals. There's too much on the screen distracting me. And 2, I wish that they found a way to get back to that. It almost felt like the strengths of storytelling and narrative, which we're about to get into, which is something Rocksteady's pretty well known for. It took a really big backseat to this live service model that they wanted with the gameplay. And that's just upsetting. It's upsetting, man. It's upsetting because it's not like it's not just that you're flushing down a legacy of content that came from the Arkham series. It's also this level of like, you're disrespecting it. You're kind of bastardizing it in some senses. And then it's like, oh, this is an innovation. This is commercialization. This is you making cheesy what used to be authentic, what used to feel organic, what used to feel gritty and very cutting edge. You're kind of like tokenizing it. And I just feel it. I feel it from the beginning all the way through the rest of the game. And that tends to be a lot of the hollow parts with the sound and the visuals and the gameplay, which we've discussed so far. So that's how I was feeling when I heard that. Give him kudos for certain things, but underneath it, bro, there's something hollow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, for me, when you play Red Dead and you hear Arthur Morgan, you could tell they was in the booth, bro. They was in the booth for hours making sure, run that back, run it back, run it. He's on record, bro, stating that, I was sounding too horny to my horse and they had me come back and re-record my shit. But this, bro, it low-key felt like they came in and they said, all right, we here for 3 days. Let's do it in one take and we out of here, bro.
And honestly, bro, going back to what you said about Cyberpunk earlier, because I didn't play enough of the game to give full game talk. I can talk only about, as a gamer, stuff I'm playing in the industry. Put some respect on Cyberpunk, because y'all are talking about, second chances and X, Y. Like you said second chance. Yo, that game folded because it was massive. And then they tried to rush it. But guess what? Even when it looked like blocks of Legos, those sound lines never repeated themselves. And that's something CD Projekt Red knows. That's their niche. So for Rocksteady to think that we were going to buy this when we've been exposed to a Rockstar game like Red Dead Redemption 2, exposed to a Cyberpunk, to a Witcher, exposed to an Uncharted. Come on, bro. Kitty got wet. You wildin'.
Yeah, Yeah, all right, let's hit this story, bro. From beginning to end, for me, there were fun moments. I enjoyed moments. I also didn't enjoy moments. And it's not over yet. It's not entirely finished because of the model of the game, as it makes sense. But for the main story, as they put it out to be, high moments for me, bro, is the Batman Museum. That's a super high moment, because that was a celebration of the past, and having us literally be on the other side of what we were once. It was crazy. That was a crazy moment in the game. Falling for his traps and getting kicked in the face. That was cool. Seeing the Justice League and the world that they built was cool. We always wondered what this Arkham Justice League would look like, but once the exposure to the multiverse stuff started, and they were like, yeah, no, you just got to kill the Justice League. It was just interesting to see, finding Lex Luthor and a multiverse version of him and having him come through. It was cool, but why? You know what I mean? Why did we go this route? Why was this the path we chose to do, is my question. And by the end of it, there's 13 or 18 other Brainiacs that we need to fight after we beat the first one. There's a bunch more, and all right, here's the seasonal content. I get it now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, bro. There's some interesting things in there. Killing characters off screen. I think Robin is dead. I think he got killed off screen. I don't know. I don't know. Amanda Waller was weird. She just felt so... I like Amanda Waller sometimes. Sometimes she sucks completely. But Viola Davis or the Batman Telltale series had an Amanda Waller. I'm like, oh, you're good. I like you, evil bitch. Here, I was just tired of hearing her, bro. I was like, yo, every time she's like, all right, y'all motherfuckers better. No, shut up, bitch. I'm hanging up on you.
Just because you get graphic and start talking like Deadpool doesn't mean that you're playing Amanda well.
Right.
Stick to Seer, mama, respectfully.
I mean, is she though? Can she though? You saw how that happened, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks for doing Seer, mama.
Gameplay, bro. Gameplay tied to the story. I know we've talked about respecting Rocksteady, and I mean this with the most respect I could possibly give. When has Rocksteady Studios ever been fantastic at a boss fight besides one or two? Let's be real. People were expecting incredible boss fights, and I get it, you're fighting the Justice League, right? But let's look at the Arkham franchise and let's talk about how we give credit to the best boss fights in the franchise, the WB Montreal. Mr. Freeze in Arkham City was dope as hell. But they were never going to give you the best boss fights in the world. So when I look at what was given, there are some that I loved and some that I didn't love. The Flash fight was interesting. Him zipping around and sucking the oxygen out, and you had to hit the shot well. That was cool. Summoning the lightning and the tornadoes, it was dope. But then when you kill him and you shoot him, he just drops. It's like, oh, but you really didn't even give me it wasn't even like a cutscene. Like, you got him all the way down to his health, and then like you have a cutscene show his death. No, it's quite literally, you just shoot him and then he drops. And then the cutscene starts with him dropped. And it's like, ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Green Lantern was cool, I guess. Batman, the one that has the whole world's panties in a twist, bro. The concept was cool. The execution, I'm not sure about. Him using the fear gas from the end of the Arkham Knight game to be the big bat was a cool concept, but at the end of the day, it felt like my fight against some of the Arkham villains. Ra's throwing the batarangs at the Ra's inside the chest and then have him fall out. I'm like, ooh, but I felt this already. My favorite boss fight was probably Superman. Because the moment that boss fight started, I was saying, oh shit, this is dead ass Superman, bro. Because he picked up a tank and smacked the shit out of you and you went flying. Like, that one was fun. But Brainiac was ass. Do you know what the Brainiac boss fight is?
I heard it was like Flash. That's what I heard. It was
just Flash. He just turned into the Flash. And that was ass. And now apparently, though, the rest of these are supposed to be just different versions of them Justice League fights. And that's ass.
Yes.
And that's ass, bro.
It's lazy.
It's super lazy. I feel like, I'm not surprised about the boss fights because, once again, I've never been blown away by a Rocksteady Games boss fight. And that's just the truth. Arkham Knight, we know that one of their worst things in that game was the boss fights because of what they did with the car. They just dived into that.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't understand why people were blown away at the fact that they weren't blown away.
I think part of the reason, bro, is that Rocksteady themselves gassed these fights. That's part of what the issue was. And that's something we haven't talked about either. It's one thing to have a legacy in front of you that casts a really big shadow. It's another when you keep upping your game like it's gas when it was ass, my G. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, these are the Justice League. We're going to make sure these boss fights are epic. You're fighting. The title of the game is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So you best believe when you're fighting the Justice League, those are going to be some of the most memorable boss fights you're ever going to have. Cap, bro. You can't say something like that and have your final boss be a replicate of the first one of the first bosses. Like, stop. And then say we're going to give you 12 more of these. Stop. It's whack. That shit is ass. Right. And as much as I agree with you in terms of like, I don't know, bro. I've said this in the Arkham episode. Some of my more memorable moments from Batman, the Arkham series, are like Killer Croc in Asylum, Scarecrow in City. Like, I like those fights. I like those encounters. I enjoy those moments.
Right. They're fun missions, but typical boss fight, like, it's not a boss fight,
I agree. And honestly, the boss fight is a lost art. It really is.
I would agree.
You know what I mean? Agree. Shout outs to From Software. From Software has found a way to take the boss fight and make it every fight. And I respect that because it's changed the way we look at boss fights forever, in my opinion, if you really tapped in as a gamer. But I agree with you. I think the masses were just using that as a point to hate. Unfortunately, though, it does feel like Rocksteady set themselves up for that. They alley-oop themselves.
I would agree because it wasn't epic. Superman was epic as hell to me because he was dangerous, like straight up. He was fast. He was strong. He was rough. But everybody else, it was just fun to look at, but not necessarily, it didn't differentiate itself from any other gameplay that the game had. And yet I still had a fun time playing with friends. You know what I mean? Like, there's the balance inside of me. that is able to say I had fun even though it wasn't this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but for story purposes, the murder of Batman, I want to talk about it, bro. I want to talk about the disrespect online, bro. The fans, as we all like to call ourselves, that was trying to use this point to say that Rocksteady was disrespecting the legacy of Kevin Conroy, and that the fact that they could even think about doing that after his passing. And my question to them is, you think he would have taken the job if he felt like it was disrespectful? He enjoyed something in this. Like, he found something, and he stated that he liked what he was able to do here. Rocksteady didn't kill Kevin Conroy. It's not like they shot him in cold blood. Like, he passed away. Unfortunately, it's tragic, and they already had their game made. Like, they are not going to reshape the game to fit just because Kevin passed away. Like, he did this for them. So why are we trying to make claims towards Rocksteady saying, look at how disrespectful they were to his legacy, as if like he didn't choose to be a part of this? That being said, I also don't know what post content has for Batman, because it seems like they're going in a direction where y'all are going to look stupid anyway, even if they might not even be able to get this out. But at the end of the day, I think if you were trying to use Kevin Conroy's death as some hate bullet to aim towards Rocksteady, I think you're an idiot. And I think that I don't even listen to any real criticisms that you have to say, because you were really loading the gun up with Kevin Conroy is dead and y'all are disrespecting him with this bullets.
Yeah.
That's corny to me, bro.
Yeah.
That's corny to me.
I just think, I also, as much as that could be the case with the way money moves and the publishing companies and the people who are the powers that be, I wouldn't be surprised if what Kevin Conroy came to sign on for looked very different than what this ended up being. And at the end of the day, disrespect's, it's going to come no matter what, but that's the nature of business, my boy. That's just the nature of business. And at the end of the day, like you said, he died. So that plays a role, RIP, but it sucks. It sucks. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't wish that this wasn't. I wish that this wasn't it. I wish that it wasn't it. I wish that they didn't do this. I wish that the last thing we got was Knight, was some of these animated things we saw him in. I wish. But at the end of the day,
I mean, he still has a project where he's Batman coming out in an animated project.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm like, people were out here saying like, this is disrespectfully his last thing. And it's like, well, now this other company has to come and announce that they have him in their movie. Because either way, it's like, whatever the case may be, even if it's not what we wanted, you don't try to use it as justification as to why somebody's game is bad.
No,
because it's the last thing. Like,
it's terrible.
That's just wrong. That's just wrong. And to me, it says that you're not even a fan, bro. Like, you're something else. Because a fan wouldn't ever try to justify that, Plus, again, he stated that he liked the stuff that he put into this game. And we all know he always liked playing these weird versions of Batman. He was on the CW. He showed up to be an evil version of Batman. His only live action appearance as Batman. And he said he loved his time there. So, I mean, story, bro, it was just the same thing over and over again, really, man. It was just put 5 jokes into the cutscene that didn't need them there. Progress the plot forward very little, even if it doesn't make sense, just so we can pad our menus, our gear systems, all that.
Give me another thing to focus on the HUD.
Like, it's hard for me to even sit here and try to dive into the story as we like to do here, because at the end of the day, bro, the story was, how do we kill 4 members of the Justice League and introduce the multiverse so that we can have the rest of our game be the same thing over and over again?
And in a day and age where multiverse is a button everyone's pressing, this is definitely one of the more, least memorable moments. I don't give 2 shits. I don't, and I won't. It doesn't matter how much you flesh this out. I could log on and make money, and I still wouldn't care, to be honest, bro. It's at that level. So and then
they didn't build out the world that they were currently in order to do that nearly enough.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's not there, bro.
Exactly. And when it comes to WB, I want y'all to hear me as loud and clear as you possibly can. Stop tokenizing Joker. Stop. Stop it. Stop it right now. We don't need it. We don't want it. We don't need it. We don't want it. I promise you. We don't want it. It's whack. It doesn't matter. I don't want it in multiverses, and I don't want it here. It's not all you have. You know what I mean? Like, DC's massive. Bring me somebody else. Give me something new. I just feel like from a story standpoint, y'all lazy. This was super lazy. Listen, Rocksteady, I'm sorry. I'm sorry y'all are shackled to the things you're shackled to, into the money you have to make, into the game that they wanted, that they said is going to look like this. And live service is killing. No, Fortnite is going stupid. We need a live service game. Make your mark. I feel bad for y'all. I would never want to be a developer in that position ever in my life. I wouldn't even wish that on my worst enemy, to have to make a game you don't want to make, or to make a game that's not true to the legacy you've left behind, or to make a game and want to innovate, but then your innovation tends to be tied to the machine of corporate necessity and what sells and what's worked, and all this mayhem of my money paid for this license and this IP and that character. And you know what we need here? We need some Joker. Shout out to Heath Ledger. That boy rolling in his grave with the amount of Joker interpretations that WB continues to put up on screen and butcher this character. I just don't understand why it is they're so obsessed with it. But I saw that, and when I saw that, I said, yeah, I'm not finishing this game. If that's what's waiting for me at the end, along with everything you've said about these boss fights, which is in the subtitle of the game, Kill the Justice League, I'm not playing it. I'm going to take my nice, sweet, slow time.
Gotta do what you gotta do, bro.
Straight like that.
For the Joker thing, man, I mean, I feel like with the popular characters, they're just gonna do what they do. I don't necessarily feel like, I feel like this case is one of the only cases where I feel that, in some sense of like, I'm interested as to why they chose that to be the route that they go first. Multiverses, I really don't give a shit about. I just feel like they have Kevin Conroy's Batman in there, and so they got Mark Hamill to be Joker. And I mean, Mark always said, wherever Kevin is, I am. So I'm like, if that's where Kevin's last thing is going to be, then sure, Mark, I'll take you there too. But I don't know about the whole butchering thing either, bro. I mean, Leto maybe, but
bro,
here it was just
throwing Joker is the add-on. It's the go-to DC add-on that they've been using since day one. And I feel like that's whack when there's tons of people in all of DC. There's so many people, bro, villains and heroes.
For here, I would agree 100%, bro. I would agree 100% for Suicide Squad. I don't understand why they went Joker first. If he was fifth, sure. But for the first brand new character to just be that, very interesting. Very interesting. And I don't even agree with the people online that are saying like, oh, it's Ash just because it's not Mark Hamill. Like, it's Ash for a whole different reason, bro. I don't care that it's not Mark Hamill. It's Ash for a whole different reason, bro. Yeah. But hey, man, you know, I mean, overall, this game for me as 2024, we are currently 5 months complete and in the middle of our 6th month. It was a fun time that I often forget about that I even had. And that's the game, bro. That's just the fun time that's super forgettable. That once it's done, it's done and gone, bro. That's it. I feel like that was it. It took forever to come out after it was announced. And it probably could have waited even longer. And now its lifeline is who knows. They have 4 seasons ready to go. They pushed one out. Second one drops in July with a multiverse version of Mr. Freeze, I believe. So we're going to see how long the game lasts, bro. We're just going to see how long it lasts. There's so many little things. Riddler coming back, I enjoyed hearing him in my ear once more. I know a lot of people hate him, but I enjoy the Riddler. The codexes, hearing the Justice League, why they went to Brainiac's ship, their interactions together. It's fun, but it also just leaves this impression of, damn, what could have been. And I think that's what this game's legacy is eventually just going to be remembered as, what could have been.
What's your number rating?
I want to hear yours first, as someone who didn't finish the game. Funny enough,
I give the beta/alpha a 6 out of 10.
Which was really just the first half of this game.
And I give the game itself a 5. Straight like that.
All right.
From what I played.
Okay. For me, as a game itself, taking my own experiences out of it, I think it's also a 5. The fun that I had while playing, maybe a 6 or a 7.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, repetitive missions, not fun missions, vehicle moving forward missions, and the vehicle is driving at 10 miles per hour because it needs you to stop and fight. It reminded me of Assassin's Creed 1, and it was just, at times, mindless. And it should never be mindless, especially when you are a part of a company whose last 3 games were not mindless. Even at its worst, was not mindless. Required you to be locked in. So, Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. Am I disappointed? No. Because I was never really anywhere to be disappointed to begin with this one. You know what I mean? I was just waiting to see what it turned out to be, and then I got it, and that's it, So that's it for this game, man. I mean, maybe 2023 when we do our, similar to last year when we did our recap, 2024's recap. Well, I'll have more seasons under my belt, and I'll be able to bring some of that to you and see what maybe happened, not happened. But as it currently stands,
mid.
Yeah, it's straight mid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, if you have some friends and you heard everything I just said and you guys want to have some mindless fun, why not get on it? It's the same thing I said about Avengers, mindless fun. I preferred Suicide Squad over the Avengers.
Heard.
In some aspects, story most definitely, but both of them can go somewhere in the back pocket, and it's unfortunate for Rocksteady. I hope they get their second chance. I know that the creator of the Rocksteady Studios, OG, has created a brand new studio, and they're cooking something up. I'm gonna be there also.
I heard about that.
Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. You took 3 years to come out, and it's taken me 3 months to forget. So, and I wish it wasn't. I truly was giving you your chance that so many other people weren't. And that's it.
He said that.
Ivy said, yo, do you even want to do that episode? And I say, yo, we can't just talk about the good. Right. We got to hop on and speak our chest.
Right.
And that's what it's always going to be here. Honest. No disrespect. So,
unfortunately, Rocksteady committed career suicide. But guess what?
That's not what we want, bro. That's not what we want.
It's not what we want. But guess what? When you at a low, the only place you can go is up. And my expectation is that you learn from your mistakes and you figure out something that's more niche, more in your strengths, more necessary. If an Arkham game dropped tomorrow, and I don't want an Arkham game, but I'm just saying, if a combat system, intentional narrative, gritty feel, memorable combat system for real, even with some innovation came out, I think it would make a big splash right now. There's definitely a need. If Arkham Asylum came out tomorrow, it would splash the same way it did then, which is crazy because it shows that there's a deficit in gaming. And that's also something I want to say. Like, before we get up out of here, live service. You wanted to make a live service game, huh? You wanted to make a live service game, WB? Go look at Helldivers. Helldivers made a live service game, but there's heart behind the stuff that's not even on screen. There's heart behind why the stuff that's on screen is on screen. And Rocksteady knows that. They know that. They know about that. they just missed. It's almost like they shot with their eyes closed. It's almost like they just took a shot in the dark. Like, if it hits, it hits.
It feels like an arcade game that would have dropped in 2012.
Yeah, it feels like I could go to Dave & Buster's or Andretti's and play this on a machine with a VR headset. You know what I mean? And I just feel like that's whack. So, yeah, I think you wrapped it up pretty well there, bro. Thing about us here at Cuzzo-Op is you're always going to get our honest response. We're not going to sit here and just bash a game. We'll try to give some strengths, some pros, some things that we did like. But at the end of the day, this is one of those ones where it's not a getting into DC games episode. We're not recommending it necessarily. I'm just saying it's upsetting, but I think there can be more and better on the other end of this happening for all of gaming, not just Rocksteady, all of gaming, especially when it comes to the DC franchise. And it makes me excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, man. I mean, for me also, I want to just say that, for the future of DC games, something that we do know about is the Wonder Woman game. Who knows where it is? Who knows what's happening with it? But from what we do know is it's supposed to play like Shadow of Mordor. So we gonna see, man. I'm still hoping that there's a reason why Telltale, when they came back, they only renewed 2 licenses. One of them was Wolf Among Us, and the other one was Batman. So I'm still waiting to see what they might cook up, because we know they're doing season 2 still of Wolf Among Us. So maybe we're gonna get the season 3 of Batman. But
it's gonna make me go back. I'm gonna go back and play those with my wife. We love those. But listen, when it comes to gaming here at Cuzzo-Op, it's been lacking, and it's because this year there hasn't been too many. There just hasn't been a lot of gaming.
It was a good year, man.
2023 was stacked, but guess what? Today, as this episode is dropping, Summer Games Fest happened, and you're probably listening as it's already out. So we've got something we're going to talk on. Stay tuned in that. And the rest of the year has a couple of things, not just in October with COD and stuff, but there are little whispers here and there of other things, and we're hoping they're confirmed. We're going to talk about them, so stay tuned as we continue to discuss video games, continue to discuss movies, and continue to discuss TV here. If you're somebody who is big on sharing podcasts, we ask, would you share this with people that you know and love and appreciate the conversation of entertainment with? There's 2 dudes that are trying our best to shed light on what we love and enjoy. And that's what it's all about here at Cuzzo-Op. When you tap in, you're going to catch 3 things from us, and that's 2 cousins, 1 podcast, and endless entertainment. Till next time, peace.